Alright, today's video we're going to show a little useful tool on how to put accordion shutters in. Are you still filming? Alright, so these we got from a person that took them down from their house and sold them at a discount. So I'm going to show how we can go and turn these windows were $1,800 to do, and we got all these shutters for the entire house for $1,000. And that's the end result. So we're going to show you one door, how to put it together, how to cut it, and what it takes to do that for your hurricane needs. Alright, safety first. Okay, so come this way. First thing we're going to do is we got to paint the door. Alright, no. First thing we're going to do is we got to measure the space, because you want your shutters to stay. You don't want it to be on top of the door, so you want it to stay hidden so you don't see them when you're looking. So we're going to measure this, and we're going to go, and this is 8 foot wide. So we're going to be a half inch in from each side, on each side. So this is 84 inches. So we're going to cut the rails at 83 inches. That gives us a half inch on both sides, approximately. Okay, so we have two kinds. We have two types of rails. This rail could be used for the top and the bottom, and but there's a special one for like doors that you can use too. So we're going to use the two different kinds of the top. This is going to be the top, and we have one for the bottom. So like always, when you cut this stuff, very noisy. So safety glasses for your eyes, because you only have one set, and earplugs because you only have one ear or two. Alright, so like I said before, we're going to cut this to 83 so we can leave a half inch on either side. So we're going to measure this 83. Actually, bring it to the back. Alright, so we're going to come and by the way, all this material was already cut for a different house, so you have to make sure that as you're cutting, when you buy them like this, as you're cutting, you measure first to see what the other pieces are going to go, to other windows. So we're trying to maximize the use, and we're trying to minimize the waste. So here we go. We're going to measure twice, cut once. So we're at 83. Alright, so this throws a lot of this aluminum everywhere, so we cover the saw. Even with a vacuum, it still makes a mess. So here we go. Okay, so it cuts pretty easy. This is just a wood blade, and it cuts the aluminum really nice. It makes a hell of a cut. So here we go. This one's gonna be the top rail. So let's go over here and show you how to put this in. Okay, so after we put all this stuff up, like that one over there looks pretty new. It looks pretty clean, pretty nice. We pressure wash it and use a little degreaser from Home Depot, purple stuff I think it's called, and you clean it up and it comes out, you know, really nice and clean. But you really want, this is to hold the wind or anything coming at your window. Even if you have impact windows, you don't want the window cracking. It costs a lot of money to replace a window, so this is a good option so that even your impact windows break. Because a lot of people, you know, a lot of the times, you know, I have impact windows, but they still break. If something hits it, it's going to crack it. With this, chances are you're not going to have damage to the window. And once we get ready to cut the sections, it's very cheap and inexpensive to replace those sections instead of having to replace the door or the window or the glass. I don't know how you would replace the glass, but it's very expensive to do. So the reason that you might even want to consider putting shutters of any kind, but these are a lot easier than the corrugated ones, or I don't know what they're called, but anyways, because these you don't have to store, you don't have to take them down, you just push them out of the way, and they store on the wall for, you know, for the entire time that you have them. But these shutters, even if you have impact windows, the shutters are a lot cheaper to replace the sections than to replace an impact window. The impact window will still break, even though you know, even if you have them all around the house. If a piece of wood or rocks or whatever hits the window, it's not going to go through, but it's still going to break. So these shutters protect against that kind of thing. These shutters will dent, but you can replace the sections. So when we start cutting the sections, I'll show the difference between the ones that you put up and these shutters. And if it gets a dent or something goes damages it, because these shutters will stand, and I'll show on the other one, they sit away from the window quite a bit. So if something was to hit it, in order for the object to hit the shutter, break the shutter, and get to the window, there's a big gap here. And the way the shutters sit, like a pyramid, becomes a lot stronger, and it won't damage the door. So let's put this up, and then I'll show you the other door. Yeah, that's good. That'll work. 1/2 inch on each side. That should be pretty close, you know. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty close. All right, are you ready? All right. Even though the shutters only take the wind, well, they only take the wind and the push against it, you still want to use Tapcons or a pretty hefty fastener of some sort. If it's wood, you wanna use, you know, at least I don't know what the code is, but you want something hefty to hold that. So I would, you know, we're using 3/16. Is that what we're using here?
Yeah.
3/16 Tapcons to put them in, and we're doing them, you know, every 6 inches or something. So it's a little bit of overkill, I think, but it works.
She's gonna be in there.
She's gonna be in there. All right, so in this case, this is what we're going to use. We're going to use decking screws. Because there's wood behind there. So we're going to use 2-inch decking screws. Oh, that's in. Okay. And now you just, you use one of the screws on one end, and then you put a level on it to make sure, because you can't always rely on the lines of the house. So you want to put the level on it and make sure everything's level. So. Post office guys here too. Jeez Louise. Got a little painting to do. We got camera girl here too. We got everybody. We got the whole band.
The thicker Tapcon. This doesn't work.
Alright, so now we're going to cut the bottom rail. You cut it the same length as the top rail, so everything lines up. So we said it was 83. Yep. So 83, here we go. Very messy, this stuff. All right, so now we got the rail, and this is going to be a little bit different than the top one. All right, so we have a bit of a challenge here. Because, hey, get the laser. We got a bit of a challenge because of this lip here. The door will clear this, but the door will clear, but it's too far out. And to center, let's go with this. It's 7 1/4. And to center here, it's 6 1/4. So that's an inch difference. So an inch difference between the top and the bottom. So it's going to be out a little bit. So do we want to cut it? The only option here is to cut this rail 1 inch and then scoot it over.
But you know, with the wind and the water, bumpy slope of the pie.
So what the young fellows are saying is just put it down and forget about it. And let's see what the laser says first. Let me see.
I'm in position to. How much of a difference is it? 1 inch?
1 inch. It's not very much. It's not very much of a. So we'll turn the laser on.
Should be on like
All right. All right, so now we're centered. We're centered on the all the screws in there. But look at the top. So now this blue line should be in the center of this. So, you know, that's about an inch. So do we want to cut it? Is it going to make a big difference? So what's going to happen here is the rail is going to sit like this. You know, if you don't line it up exactly, when you put the piece that's going to cover, it's going to look weird. So the best thing to do here is get the saw and cut 1 inch off the bottom rail and scoot it in more. That way it works out. Don't listen to the young fellas. They always want to set you up for failure. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, so like I said, we have an inch difference, so we're going to cut this to 3 inch with the table saw. But wait a minute. Hold the back of that for a second. All right, let's go take a look and see how this works out. So now, what we're doing here is we're trying to line up the center of the top rail with the center of the bottom rail. So now we're going to use a laser with this one to line up the edge to the edge.